Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dinks with Kinks. Before we get into tonight's episode, I want to remind everyone that we are in fact on that social media. Follow us at Dinks with Kinks. Reach out, talk to us. Tell us what you think. Give us some more kinks to do. I am your host, John Undero, and with me, as always, the ever bratty, but quite delightfully perky, Miss Rebecca.
Hello, everyone.
And a man that more people than I can count want to call them daddy, Mr. Shep.
Stop begging. Good evening.
How are y'all guys doing tonight?
It'd be better if you told them which social medias we were on.
Oh,
I did. All the social medias. Type
All
at
of the
Dinks with
socials.
Kinks. Yeah.
Can I
We
say
also have a
you
live
actually
stream.
calling them out and you ruined it for me.
I know. I'm sorry. I had an accident. I messed up. Luckily.
And we are, let's see, we are 1 minute in, 60 seconds in. Okay, got it. All right. That's where we're at.
Luckily,
Okay.
I'm protected. I am, in fact, protected with my handy dandy diaper. And that's what we're talking about tonight. You guys don't realize
diapers!
you guys don't realize how long I sit and just think about how to intro this thing and work my way in. And I
The
knew
whole
Shep
30
would call me
seconds?
out if I changed it. No? It was clever thinking. No, we're talking about the diaper
Happy
fetish.
Friday the 13th, everyone. I hope
Yes.
it's Friday
It
the
Unless
was
you're
until his
listening to this-
intro ruined it for me.
Do you need to change it? Do we need to change it out?
We need to change it out a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Happy Friday the 13th to everyone listening to this on Saturday. If you can tell when we're recording this.
Yeah, yay.
So yeah, the diaper fetish.
So-
Were you guys aware of this fetish? That this was an actual fetish?
Like diapers, like as a solitary thing, or in diapers as in
Like a
conjunction
paraphilia.
with- Honestly, no. I thought it just went along with the whole like little baby play. Like I didn't know that it was. I know that's a part of it, but I didn't think that it was its own separate fetish or kink.
Honestly, I did as well. When I first heard this. What about you, Shep? Have you
I'm the ship.
come across this fetish?
Of course
before?
I knew.
He knew. This is actually a paraphilia, attraction to like any other type of object that is not genitalia, like clothing, styles of hair, stuff like that. So anything in that regard. It is actually very popular with the little community, with infant community, as it were. In fact, on our second episode when we did latex, Auntie Amy actually does this fetish with a lot of her subs. This is actually a very popular fetish in her world. I actually reached out and talked to her a little bit about this.
That's
so
fine.
a little insight. Yeah, it was nice hearing her. She's from across the pond. You should check her out at Auntie Amy on Twitter.
She was great.
So you can get some actual visual representation of kind of like what this fetish is about. So I think my first misconception was that it was just like people messing in their diaper. And the more I look into this, it's not. That is a part of it, but it's not a major, like it's not the only contributing factor. Like I had to break it down into layers. I had to peel it.
No, the butt in the
Like an
diapers would be the contributing factor.
Yeah, the butt of it.
Yeah.
But as far as I can see, as far as my research goes, I think the paraphilia is what is the strongest.
I would assume that it's sort of like similar in the attraction, sort of like the pantyhose fetish or any paraphilia.
Mhm.
You know, it's the object, like they like the object itself and how it makes them feel, how it fits, how it looks, how it feels. I mean, all of those different factors come in.
Yeah. And
Yeah. I feel like it gives you that good feeling of safety. It wraps around and then hugs you tight.
actually, we are going to cover that later. As far as like why people enjoy diapers, that is very much in my notes. As far as like outside of the paraphilia aspect of it, but a lot of people don't just enjoy seeing the sight of the diaper themselves, but seeing the sight of the diaper under clothing. It's a very popular one. Like being able to tell someone is wearing a diaper.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though there are diapers out there that, like, because, you know, as you get older, you have to wear those adult diapers. Like they advertise discretion, like being discreet and concealing it like regular underwear. So it's more like they like seeing it, sort of like seeing a panty line.
Actually, absolutely. And like I said, this is just some of the research I've done and talking with other people. But it's that, and yeah, they don't like the hidden diapers. They go for the more, because a lot of people with this paraphilia also very much dabble in, adult babies or AB, DLs. It's AB, adult baby, and DL, diaper lover. And it's not so much I want a wet diaper. It's exactly what Shep said. There's something, if someone who loves to wear a diaper, it is the safety and security of knowing that you are in fact protected from any accidents that could happen.
So like a swaddle almost, like a lower half swaddle, lower region swaddle.
But
yeah.
Also, tell me if I'm wrong on this though, because I'm thinking of like from a paraphilia sense and the size and shape of the diapers. Wasn't it in like medieval or Renaissance times when guys actually wore these really puffy laced short type things that kind of looked like them in a way?
You mean pantaloons?
Maybe pantaloons, maybe.
Pantaloons. I'm sure pantaloons are their own fetish in their own right. Maybe we should add it to our wheel.
Just saying.
Yeah. No, I think most of the research I've done does devolve that this is definitely a regression type fetish. Where I want to regress, when we covered littles and whatnot, we talked about like it's a regression type fetish, and so it's half and half. It's either or. It's the paraphilia of the sight and feeling and look, or is the regression fetish the adult baby side of it. And usually people like who do enjoy both this paraphilia side and the adult baby side, so the AB and DL, a good number of them do enjoy the feeling of a wet diaper. Maybe not necessarily, not necessarily a urine-soaked diaper.
Mm-hmm.
But as a parent, I could tell you what happens if you put a diaper in a swimming pool. Or any spillage, those suckers fill up.
That could go along with like splashing, right? Kind of the splashing, squishing sensation.
It absolutely is. The sexual arousal usually comes from the feeling of the gel. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever... If you have kids, you know this way too well. And if you have dogs with kids, you know this uncomfortably too well. There is a gel inside diapers. It's a silica-based chemical that soaks up moisture, and it turns into a gel. And it is...
It's a mess, and it's hard to clean up. It's
very hard to clean up.
Especially out of carpet.
If you've ever had a dog attack a diaper,
I can see a commercial for it now, though. Two guys walking to each other. You taint gelling? Mm-hmm.
Taint
taint.
gelling? Did you just say taint gelling?
I did.
I think he just said
Oh.
You're
taint
welcome.
gelling.
You're welcome, all of you. Taint Dylan. You taint Dylan?
Well,
Yo, brother.
I mean, that feeling is a fun feeling. It's sort of like, again, sort of like the slime. Like, the tactile feeling of slime, except on your junk.
This is this aspect of it is very much the wham / splashing aspect of it. And I see that's kind of why I dig this fetish, is that there is absolutely so much to it. There's not one standing light. There's not like, I like this for this reason, and then all the other things are kind of like subcategories. They're all their own category. And you may like them all. You may like one of them. Not one is more predominantly popular in that culture as it is.
That's fun. That's a fun thing to think about. Like, it's like, because it's like shoe fetish, like you have peep toe shoes or closed toe shoes or boots or whatever. Like, it's all
Absolutely.
different, but it's all the same.
And yeah, well, like I said, with any paraphilia, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfectly thing because everyone gets attached to it. This one, I kind of wanted to dig down deep into the why of it, because instinctively think, well, there's trauma here, and as far as I can find now, like I say, I'm not going to exclude trauma in the basis of this kink, but no, it's actually a lot of what I found outside, and we're going to talk adult baby situation later for developing that kink, but a lot of the paraphilia comes from just late bloomers, people who had trouble potty training. So their body was more used to their diaper, or they had to sleep in like sleepers because they had bedwetting issues, and not necessarily trauma. It's just your body starts kicking in things whenever it starts kicking in things, and you were late on this, but you were very early in developing the things that you liked as an adult. So you have that like crossover.
I mean, like, kids have been known to masturbate young, like, and even though they don't know what it is really. So I mean, the times that overlap, that Venn diagram, I mean, that sort of makes a little bit of sense for those, because I know as a parent, I mean, I had a child who had very much had difficulty and was a late bloomer in that aspect. So I mean, I get it. Like, I mean, that sort of makes sense, and it was one of those things overlap and they sort of merge. Yeah. So yeah, okay.
Well, like I said, your brain wires everything differently, and everyone's brain wires things differently. Though, luckily, history does repeat, and, as different as your brain may be wired, there's a lot of other people who have the same wiring, and that's awesome. And I think that's kind of what develops for any like kink or fetish, is just either some type of stimulation while your body was connecting the right cables to the right places, and went, hey, I'm going to connect these two because I have attached this memory or this feeling to sexual gratification. Now,
this red wire attaches to this blue wire, and they make sparks, and it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
So, this can also be a very audible fetish.
With the
like
Velcro?
ASMR. Not just Velcro, but the crinkling of a diaper. Like when you sit, even like a dry diaper, but they all make a very distinct sound. And so this is one of those kinks, like where you can have just the audio trigger arousal, like hearing a diaper when somebody walks, when somebody sits, or just general movement of them. So
I know how I feel as a primal sub when I hear that growl, like the growl, or like that deep. husky. Like, I know how that makes me feel, so I can completely understand, like, if somebody with this fetish, when they hear that sound, how it would make them feel. Because for somebody who doesn't have a primal fetish, like, they hear a growl and they're like, why is that person growling? Like, I hear it and I'm like, oh. Like, you know, I can see how hearing that sound can really make them react.
I 100% get that. I was telling somebody the other day that I was like, I can hear pantyhose. Like, you know, walk that swish, swish, swish. I can hear it in a crowd. I have distinctively turned around because I've heard it. Just, I don't consciously hear it. Just somewhere in my subconscious, because you hear this, you're aroused. And I turned around and I was right. And I was like, this is the worst, best superpower in the world.
Auditory is actually like it affects a lot of the fetishes, especially those with, like, you know, paraphilia or something, like, because you can hear they make certain sounds. They make like heels on whatever, or like it's just there are certain sounds that you associate with those things. Very direct. That's fun.
That would be a fun way to find out another person has your fetish, because okay, you're wearing a diaper and then they're wearing a diaper and you're out in public and you hear the distinctive crinkle of that, and you know nobody else who's not into it is going to pay attention to that sound, but you know that other guy who, you know, his brain is wired to pay attention to that, and you guys just lock eyes. You're just like, I know you know.
Would you lock eyes first, or would you lock diapers?
Well, hopefully there's some consent there, so you lock eyes first, or at least, you know, you go around and you do the look. Is there a little more booty that shouldn't be there? So, I actually knew a person who had this fetish. Before I was in the kink community, I had a friend. I had just started to model fetish photography, and one of my models, her partner, had the diaper fetish, and it just blew my mind then, because I'm still like, I think I was like 19. I am, you know, and the internet is still in its young
young age. Dot matrix printers, dial up.
And I looked at her and I said, what is, you know, and that's where first I was like, does he like to use them and all that? And she's, you know, and she was just like, no, he just likes to wear them. He'll wear them around the house. He won't use them. He takes them off, puts them away, just like underwear. He has that security, that comfort, and that attachment to it. And for the longest time, because he was Canadian, I always told people that was a Canadian fetish.
Oh,
because the one Canadian I knew had that fetish, so I was like, all Canadians have that fetish. I do know, in fact, that all Canadians do not have a diaper fetish, but that was the joke I made at the time because he was the one Canadian I knew. So 100% of the Canadians I've ever known at the time had a diaper fetish.
I mean, it does get really cold up there. I can understand maybe that extra little protection rather than midriffs sometimes.
This is true, and you don't want that moisture spreading. Another thing we talked about like messing a diaper, like with urine or feces, but another part of this is just orgasm, orgasm byproduct, finishing,
ejaculate.
That was the appropriate word I was looking for. That just kind of, you know, went off on its own.
It's always the E words.
It kind of just trickled out.
It's the E words. You can't.
It kind of trickled out. But to finish in a diaper and then have it changed is both a level of naughtiness, and so they don't necessarily want to urinate on themselves or defecate on themselves, but they want to ejaculate into the diaper and then be changed and either like told they did such a good job or scolded, and this kind of falls into like the adult baby and the sexual gratification area things, because there's a lot of people who enjoy the adult baby. There's no sexual gratification. So I did want to cover like ejaculate in a diaper as the same as messing a diaper.
So it's the same. It's considered the same.
Well, for the people who have this particular side of that fetish.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you make that kind of mess, your partner might come help clean you up.
Well, that's it. You know, this really does follow, like, a lot of people with that fetish, like this part of the fetish, it is very much a sub-dom relationship where they want to be changed by their mom, you know, or their daddy, their mommy or their daddy, depending on what partner they are seeking. So yeah, that's very much in the partners thing. So then I wanted to kind of cover the adult baby stuff.
Yeah.
Also, would you guys ever ejaculate into a diaper?
Well, it wouldn't. It would be sort of hard for me to ejaculate in a diaper the way you have. So probably not. I mean, you have to get up in the diaper, and the way you have to do it, and then there's a lot of mechanics involved. So probably
There's definitely some difficulty. I'd have to like get up to that moment where it was unavoidable, and then pull the diaper up.
What I'm hearing though is that people would pay a lot of money to see the video of her trying said action, because it would be both entertaining, many struggles
arousing
in there, and arousing. Yes, it would be full of all the emotions.
all of the emotions, all of the things.
It would be a great video.
All the things. It would be.
Everyone would buy it.
I know I would.
But
would you try it?
Me?
Would you try it? Would you ejaculate into a diaper?
I mean, like I said, I'd have to like get to the point where it was unavoidable and then pull the diaper up for me to actually do it, or shove my hand into the diaper and have stimuli to, you know, kind of change. But I mean, I don't care. I'd do it.
I mean,
and knowing him, he'd have this catchphrase like,
easier for you to get there in the diaper than me.
Well, I guess it all depends on how tight the diaper is, because you can masturbate in underwear.
That's true.
Yeah.
a little bit, depending on the underwear though, you can chafe a little bit. Yeah, but still.
I would imagine it'd be more difficult for me because things have to be farther off the body to get things around. It honestly just depends on what type of thing that you need to climax, because women, as we learned on our live stream that we do every Friday night at 10 p.m. on twitch.tv/thedondero, we talked about orgasms, and there are multiple ways to reach orgasm for a woman.
Yes,
Guys, just
but I mean,
yank, tug.
You know, I mean, it all could depend on how talented you are at grinding that pepper tip.
Grinding the pepper, baby. What you gonna do?
Just grind that pepper tip. I mean, I have to get around it.
You gotta get around it. So adult babies.
What?
You'll never
Okay, adult
undergo to see
babies.
that. Just
I can't.
No,
Adult babies.
that
All right.
was more of a-
No. We're gonna keep moving. No, we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep
screwing
going.
the tip on the salt shaker.
Or maybe we're calling that when they turn in the bulb.
Turning the bulb.
Because that's and that is the bulb of the shaft there. That has a bulb. Yeah. There we go. New one. Turning the bulb.
Shafty bulbs. Go ahead and let that sink in your
Shafty.
head for a little bit, audience. Shafty bulbs.
I would like to
So I wanna
apologize
kinda
in
get-
advance.
But
Sorry.
we're going back to the
I would
ASMR stuff. We also briefly did the whole splashing / moist diapers. Just think of the sound of that whenever you're walking around or just moving, all the squishing.
Oh no, that very much plays a part into it. Absolutely, the splashing.
Not just for taint jelly,
sound.
also for sound. Yes.
But when it comes to like adult babies, I want to kind of like recover a little bit what we talked about littles. This particular side of the kink, my personal belief is not necessarily a trauma response, but a trauma response, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that.
Okay.
A trauma comfort, a coping mechanism when it comes to trauma response, because as we found, like the growing number of littles, and as this kink, this side of the kink becomes more popular, I start looking at things like, and it very much spiked during the pandemic when people were trapped indoors. There was very much a catastrophe style just vibe going on everywhere. And a common trauma response to any type of catastrophe is regression, reverting back to childhood, because it's a time where you could feel safe because someone will take care of you, nurture you, you have less responsibilities. And this is where like adult baby really comes into. It's the regression, the being taken care of. Because like with a toddler or like a typical little, there is nurturing and there is very much like childlike behavior, but it's not so much I am taking care of you. I could be like a babysitter. I could hand you some coloring books and we could still continue on. Adult baby, much more of an in-depth look. Like I'm more reliant. I am more...
A more interdependence on somebody else. A more, like, when you're, like... if this is what I'm hearing. So like as a little, like you can have that connection, but you can be a little without having somebody specific taking care of you. You can share that little space with anyone. But with adult babies, it's more of that interdependent, like that caregiver, that one person, that connection with somebody.
Yeah, you can little solo. It's hard to adult baby solo.
Gotcha.
So this diaper fetish, that's amore. Yeah.
That's amore. Now I kind of want to talk to you guys about a little bit of rubber, because you are I am rubber, you are glue. Everything you say bounces off me and sticks to you.
Is it fleshlight for you? What? Oh, okay.
No, rubber fetishism is actually a big part of this kink. It's a different subgenre, but like rubber booty shorts, like actual like watertight rubber booty shorts, like rubber pants almost. That is very big in this culture, and you see them and you don't realize. Because there are more fetish, they're more traditional fetish gear.
Yeah.
But essentially, that's your tail right there.
For me, they're very uncomfortable. I'm like yanking them out of places, and I'm like,
I'm too tender-headed with my hair to pull on a pair of tight rubber pants.
Did you?
That would just pull on my hair. Oh. No, just getting them on, it would pull on I have leg hair.
Oh.
Yeah, getting them on, that would be painful.
I have seen a video of you, John. I have seen a video of you getting your hair yanked out, though.
You have, and if you want to, if you listen to this podcast on YouTube, you can search the YouTube channel at the Don Darrow Streams TV, youtube.com/the Don Darrow Streams TV, where you can also listen to this podcast. There's a video of me getting all the hair removed from that area, and it's very...
Well, why is it...
I'm a brave boy.
So, you were a brave boy. I was very proud of you. You were such a brave boy. But why rubber? I don't understand how you go from the absorbency of diapers and rubber.
Waterproof?
How do they correlate? The diaper, the traditional diaper, I should say, versus...
absorbs.
A rubber. Yeah.
This is more to do with containment and security. Almost like chastity, I would say. But it's somebody who, it's very common, especially if you have like a latex or PVC fetish along with it. So this is like that good happy medium. And I just want to bring it up because it popped up a couple times in my research. Like every time all the see alsos were rubber fetishism. So I looked into it. I kind of dug into it. Not a big cliff note, but I did want to mention it. And I'm about to murder a Japanese word. So you guys got to bear with me. I can't speak English very well. So Omarashi?
Omarashi.
Omarashi. It's a Japanese fetish subculture where participants of this fetish enjoy the sight of somebody with a full bladder, or in having a full bladder themselves. They have it's a sexual attraction to somebody who has a overly full bladder. And
How can you tell?
You've seen someone do a pee dance, right? If you've been anywhere with me when I have to go pee, I do a pee dance. You've seen me do it.
Full bladder? You can
I
taste
have.
the rainbow? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if you were paying attention, but I'll go, I gotta pee, and I'll do my little pee dance. Because
you do.
As much as I am not a little, I have very little tendencies, and I will announce the fact that I have to go pee, and I will do a little dance. And I've been called out on it many times. Like, why are you doing a pee dance?
You can dance if you got a big old full bladder.
But it's more or less the idea of somebody having a full bladder, and their climax is when somebody releases said full bladder. And it very much goes hand in hand with the diaper fetish. And I just kind of wanted to point that out because it was on like 2 articles I read. They had brought it up. So.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, that they go hand in hand. Like,
yeah.
Diaper, that's instantaneously what you think about. Like, is elimination of some type of waste. So.
Yeah. Way too much waste, and then the release of too much waste. That dam is about to burst. So.
Have you ever peed so much that you've like, it felt good? Like, it felt good.
I had
like
that
you had
pee
to pee
last
so badly.
night. I had that pee last night. I was drinking a new beer. I was over at my ex's, and we were talking, because we co-parent, and we were drinking beers, and we were sitting there having the greatest conversation. And there was these little wheat, the light beers, like I can't even remember the brand of it, but they're like in the tall cans, like they would be the bubbly water. But it was actual beer, and it was really good, and I drank it, but it made me pee so bad. And I am literally just like, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, I gotta pee. And I filled the toilet. I filled it to the brim. I had so much pee-pee. All the pee-pee. Way too much urine.
Yeah, don't you hate
That's
when
a
you're
lot of
going
urine.
too much and you gotta courtesy flush yourself? Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about it. I was getting real close to that point where I was like, I'm gonna have to flush this toilet or I'm gonna overflow it. Also, I have been standing here way too long. Like, this pee is just taking forever.
Yep.
Boy,
You ever pee so
you really
long,
went
you
on it.
finish up, you're like, man, I must be suffering from dehydration.
I not peas like that, but I mean, okay.
What's your average pee time?
My average pee time?
Yeah.
What's your
How long does it
APT?
take?
I've been a good girl and I've
What's your
hydrated that day.
What's your APT?
What's your ABT?
30 seconds maybe.
That's gonna now be a new random question for people at the con.
Now I'm gonna have to time it. I don't know what my
what's your
average
APT?
time is. Now I'm gonna have to time it. Now,
All
I
right,
know
next
for
week's
science, for
episode.
science.
Next week's episode, we need to come up with our ABTs. Okay, so guys, get on it. Start averaging out.
Okay.
Start timing your pee. Because I want to say I'm about 45 seconds. I take my time. I scratch my rib cage. It's a thing. It's a relaxing moment.
I sit.
Anyway, we have spiraled.
We have spiraled.
You sit? Oh, I thought you were one of those adventurous standers. It just hovers
Me?
over.
No.
Okay.
You don't
My
stand to
hits the
pee?
seat.
Now we know that question. She's a sitter.
Yep.
I'm a
She's
sit.
a sitter. That's okay. Listen, no judgments. No judgments here. I'm gonna show you all TikTok later. It's gonna crack you up. Anyway. All right. We have covered this fetish pretty good, but now I want to know, like, is this something that you would participate with your partner with? Or
Not
like
as much
either
as it
wear
would cover,
yourself or
as
have
good
your
as
partner?
it would cover us, though.
Honestly, no. I don't. I would respectfully decline. I think for me, it's one of those. I cared for an elderly person when I was younger, and I also have kids. So I've done it. I've dealt with diapers on both ends. So I feel like for me, it's not a sexual thing, and I don't know if I could participate in it. No.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Shep?
No. But I have been thinking about maybe starting up a company there. And we could have the slogan of, be at ease and release your woes. We've got you covered. Right? Does that work? Work? Mm-hmm.
As much as this fetish fascinates me, and like I said, I see no problem with it. It fascinates me. I think it's very cool. I think it's very in depth. I think the people who support it, and like you know me, I love a kink or a fetish that just is massive and has so much into it. But because I do find no sexual gratification with it personally, and have been shot one too many times by my own diaper wearing spawns, that's probably a path for me, because like I said, all my associations with diapers. Now, I think a lot of times would you have this kink because people are like, oh, you must be into children. I think this kink develops well before you ever have kids, before you have any experience with children in diapers. You probably have already had this fetish. When I experienced it for the first time, had children. Like when I came to knowledge that this fetish was existed, I've had children, so my mind, the only association I have with diapers are changing dirty ones and it just being a train wreck of an experience because I was really bad at it. And both of my kids shot at me out of both ends. Bad experiences. Fun stories. Bad experiences.
This almost makes me wonder now, the population, the people that have never had kids versus the ones that do with the fetish. Because it's almost like you could be on the fence until you experience it with children. I can see that kind of burning it for you in your brain.
I mean, to a degree, I think it'd be one of those things where you probably have zero opinion of it, because, like I said, I don't believe anybody with this fetish necessarily, is into any type of pedophilia of any sort. Yeah. So I think it's a very distant thing. There's two separate things. That being said, 9 times out of 10, I think they developed this fetish before they had the only experience they had with diapers was their own. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's not. I don't think this is very much a late in life developed fetish where you just go one day, you know what, I could do this. But you know what, I could be wrong. And if I am, at Dinks with Kinks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, reach out, tell me how I did it wrong. Tell me how I did it right. With that said, you know what time it is, guys.
Yay! It's the Wheel of Kink.
It is the Wheel of Kink. We don't have a lot left.
It's the end of this Friday the 13th on Saturday. What?
Oh, we're getting so close. All right, here we go. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun.
Coming in the air tonight. Diapers. What?
So, I will say next week I may in fact be sick. I won't be able to attend. So we may have a doctor stay in.
Is it the medical fetish?
Yeah, we are doing medical fetish.
I love guessing. It's like my favorite.
I like how her face changes as soon as she knows or thinks she knows it. Her face just lights up.
It does. It lights up. Fun story. Yep. We did a shout out to Auntie Amy earlier because she participates in the Dutch fetish. She also does the medical fetish. So she's getting 2 shouts out. She's getting tagged in both those tweets.
She's a jack of all trades and mistress of many.
That is right. Because I remember when we talked to her, like on her Twitter page, medical and diaper stuff. So fantastic. Well, I am your host, John Dondero, and with me, as always, a woman who always keeps it dry unless she's putting out a fire, Miss Rebecca.
Oh my God. Good evening, everyone.
And a man who's never in need of a change, Mr. Shep.
Till next time.
Good night, everybody.